Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and first I want to say this. For my birthday month of September, yes, hashtag Virgo AF over here, I am doing a special thing to raise money for my primary charity, Children of the Night. The main mission behind this organization is to not only raise awareness for sex trafficking, but it is to pull women, teens, and children out of the hands of the perpetrators and the pimps off the street, bring them to safety into already built safe houses where they can get the therapy and medical treatment and nurturing they so badly need and deserve. This has been my primary charity for years. This is one of the big missions behind what I do. And one of my big motivators for making all the money I make is the more I make, the more I can serve and help other women and children who were in similar situations as I was in, going through all of that pain, abuse, and anguish and not thinking anyone cared. So what I'm asking for you guys to do in order to honor my birthday, in order to honor this cause and raise awareness, is to write a 5-star written iTunes review for every single iTunes review of this podcast for the entire month of September. I am donating $10. So you can share this with friends and have them do it. Feel free to include your name inside the review, and I'm going to be featuring some of these reviews inside my Instagram stories at ProjectME with Tiffany. So every single written 5-star iTunes review of this show for the entire month of September, I am donating $10 to Children of the Night. You can feel free to go look up that charity, childrenofthenight.org, if you would like, and learn more or even donate money of your own. And I'm really excited to do this. There's no cap on it. So even if there's 100, 200 reviews, I am matching this $10 for every review. Okay, let's get started on today's podcast episode. I came up with this episode from a recommendation of a longtime listener saying, I'd really like to know how to start a business without, being some tech nerd or having a website. Is it possible? I hear, some people talking about that, but yet they don't share what in the hell you're supposed to do if you don't have a website. It seems kind of weird. Where do you send people? What do you do? All those things. So you absolutely do not need a website in order to get to 10K months. Period. End of story. You do not. Unless, of course, you are actually selling physical goods. Then, you have a store with a whole bunch of different SKUs or something like that. Well, yes, then you need to do something like you need to have an Etsy shop or something like that. But you do not need to have a website. So I'm going to share with you what you in fact do need to get to 10K months. How I coach and how I teach you guys, I treat everything truly as a startup. Even when I started ProjectME with Tiffany Carter over 2.5 years ago, even though I had more than plenty of funding I could have used from my other business, it doesn't matter. Every new business I have, I treat it like a startup, meaning I'm very cognizant of the money I spend. There is nothing wasteful. I concentrate first and foremost on the must-haves, not the nice-to-haves. And then we build from there. As more income's coming in, you can then start having the nice to haves. So I know what happens with you guys is you're seeing other people online, maybe even myself, and you're like, oh my God, I need to have this amazing website with all these things, and I have to have all these videos, and I have to have all these graphics, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Maybe I need a podcast, and maybe I need to be on all these social media channels. And then you get so overwhelmed and you get paralyzed with just the thought of the insurmountable amount of work and tech and lack of knowledge with all these things that it's like, ugh. And you keep putting off going in. Maybe you dip your toe in a little bit and you take a course, or you listen to a couple podcast episodes of mine, or you watch a webinar, or maybe you sign up for some group coaching and you dip your toe in, but you never really go all in because it just sounds like all too much. So my goal of this episode is to really simplify it for you. And so you can put blinders on for everything else and just focus on these things. So number one, you're starting from scratch, any industry, right? You could be an accountant, you could be a lawyer, you could be some kind of healing practitioner, a coach, network marketing, blogger, whatever it may be. This all applies. You don't have to have an actual website. I do think you should if you want to use your own name, like you're creating a personal brand, or you have a really clever name that you've thought of that you really love for your business, I do recommend you saving and grabbing and paying for that URL. So you can go on something like GoDaddy and see if it's taken. So like ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, it took me 10 damn years to actually start the company. I had that URL reserved for quite a few years. So I was paying for it for quite some time. It's not that expensive to pay for those, but if it's something you really love and it's on your heart, you want to grab it so that no one takes it. And then you're like really disappointed in yourself for not grabbing it because it's not expensive. So that doesn't mean you have to start a website. You're just saving that domain name for yourself. So when you're ready to use it. So that's number one. Number two is this. You need to first look at your ideal client, the person you're targeting to help and what you're targeting to help them with, because we can't help everyone and we can't help everyone with everything because A, it's not possible. You're not God. And B, it's going to cost you a shit ton of time and money to try to grab someone's attention that way. So all roads stem from your ideal client. Does your ideal client really need you to have this robust website for them to trust you and want to work with you? If your ideal client needs to see you have some form of a website to develop trust, and it's not just like your ego telling you that, well, then you need to create some kind of a website, but it doesn't need to be some custom site that costs you a bunch of money. You can simply use a template off Squarespace, off Wix. I'm not paid by any of these people. A lot of people like Kajabi. Kajabi is much more expensive. So I usually don't suggest Kajabi to people who are starting out, but I can for sure vouch, especially for Squarespace, that it's a plug and play. And I know many people who have coached and friends who've literally created a basic, but very clean and pretty and professional website. Simple though, very simple, even if it has only 4 pages to it, over the course of a weekend. So you can absolutely do that if you feel your ideal client needs that. Now, here's the workaround to it. If even that sounds like too much to you, you can do what we call in the industry of just creating landing pages for whatever your offers are. So, for example, you guys can see how it looks if you go sign up for any of my freebies. So I'll give you the link for my free graphics. So my 90 free done for you pre-sized designer social media graphics. Those are at projectmewithtiffany.com/free graphics. projectmewithtiffany.com/free graphics. When you land on that page, that's actually a landing page that is not built on my website. I do have it connected, but you don't need to worry about that part. That's like a nice to have, okay? But you can use something called, I'm sure you guys have seen ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels for me, I know it's very sophisticated. It's not my jam. It's a little too masculine for me in terms of their design. And for me, it's a little too techy, but you have to see what you vibe. I personally like lead pages. So you can just literally Google lead pages. And I can't remember how much, but it's not much money. I mean, I think there's even plans as low as $8 a month, maybe $18 a month, where you have a template. It's plug and play, meaning like what picture do you want in this box? What text do you want here, right? And you want to make sure you at least know your brand colors so you can make sure things are on brands. That is something you need to determine. Are your brand colors the name of your brand and your business, right? And the vibe, right? The look and feel of it. And then you can just have one single page. So it's not like a website where there's a menu and there's all these places to go. It's one single page that people land on. And then there's an opt-in where you give your name and email to get the freebie, or you can click and then schedule a call with you, or you can click on there and it can take them to your application, or you can click on there so they can buy a ticket to your virtual event or whatever it may be. So the average consumer, right, that to them is a website. You're on it, and it technically is. In the industry, it's called a microsite, but all it is a landing page. So I purposely, even for like Selling with Soul, my signature program, and yes, that's going to be launching in a whole new fashion in October as a program. So there's going to be a live element to it, versus it simply being all self-automated course. I'm turning it into a program for you guys. So you want to be on the lookout for that for sure. But even with my Selling with Soul, so to speak, sales page, that is done. We purposely have that done on lead pages. This way, when someone goes to land on it, it's a very distinct URL. It's projectmewithtiffany.com/selling with soul. So that's the other benefit to it, is you can give it its own name. But also, I don't need someone to be distracted by coming to my website and clicking all over the place. You're just getting them to one spot. Plus, the nice thing is that it can be easier for you to make changes and customize it. You don't have to hire a web designer. You don't have to find someone to go in there and change stuff for you. Especially when you're first starting, I'm very well aware that most of you don't have the extra funds to just go hire someone to help. Like, I'm sure every time you hear someone talk about like, oh, my team, you get like a small rash. It's like your team, like you're counting every dollar when you're starting. And so I know a lot of the stuff you need to do yourself. I don't want you spending hours and hours and hours on certain things, but building your own like lead pages, or if you want to use ClickFunnels, that's fine too. I think it's a really good thing to learn how to do. It's very empowering, because later down the road, when you're bringing in money and you have someone helping you with that stuff, let's say you see a typo and it's on a Saturday. Or you're like, you know what, I really want to add in this picture or something like that. And it's a Tuesday night and your launch is tomorrow or something. You can just go in there and do the damn thing yourself. So those are some inexpensive suggestions. Again, you don't have to have a website, but you need to have some kind of a landing page so someone can get more information, someone can give their name and email to opt in, and they have somewhere else to click. Now, if you are someone who is service-based, meaning you are a coach, you have some kind of service in exchange for money. That could be you do business services, accounting services, you're a virtual assistant, maybe you're in the beauty industry. what you can do with that is you don't even have to have necessarily a website at all. You can send people to an electronic calendar, like Calendly is what I use. So if you want to just see how that looks, go to my link in bio on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany and click on like my 90-minute private coaching sessions, which, by the way, I just opened up the September time slots for those. So those are going to go really quickly. So those are in there. But click on that just so you can see what it looks like, and that you can add text in there. Like you'll see the price for it. It's $497 to get 90 minutes with me. This is the lowest price it's going to be. I'm going to be raising that very soon, by the way. But you're going to be able to see where you can add text and how it works. So don't be afraid to, like, even if you tap on one of the dates until you press OK to pay, it's not going to take money from you. So that you can just see how that works. So you can just have people book with you through an electric calendar, like Calendly. And there are many different ones. You can simply Google electronic calendar. There are ones that are specific just for the beauty industry and I'm spacing out on the name, that several ladies that I coach who are in the beauty niche, makeup artist, lashes, etc. You guys even have one that's niche specific, but there's so many different electronic calendars and they're not expensive. So then someone can click on that, book you, and have to pay right there, right then and there. You connect it to your PayPal. Right? PayPal is free. Yes, it's technically not free on the back end. They charge, and I can only speak for myself and my business, so I don't want you to hold me to it on the charges, but they charge you 2.7%. So it's, it's similar to like a credit card processing fee, right? So there is no monthly fee, so to speak. So you can have it connected to a PayPal, and now, they've booked their makeup appointment with you. They've booked their 30-minute, session with you. They booked their 90-minute session with you. If you're a therapist, this is really great too. Any kind of a coach. So you can just use that. And there's no website. You use your social media, your two main social media pages, whatever those are, as your lead generators. Use those as your website. So if it's Instagram, look at it like that is a website. There's pictures, there's long form content, there's videos, you have the highlights, you have, IGTV, you have Instagram stories, right? That is a website. You can put in your highlights, client testimonials, all sorts of things in there. So utilize your social media because it's free as a website. So again, which one do you use? It depends on where your ideal client is spending their time and hanging out. So is that Instagram and LinkedIn? Is it Instagram and Facebook? Is it Facebook and Pinterest? That's something that you have to determine. I mean, I obviously can help you determine all of this. If you book a 90-minute session, I think those are really good if you're not yet ready to apply for my 2-month private business coaching program. I'm full at the moment anyway. There's a wait list, but you could do a 90-minute session and at least know, like, get your niche nailed and stop thinking about it and know which which lead generators to focus on, and then leave all the rest so you can forget about it, move on, and go all in. So I want to then go one step further. Let's say with what you do, an application is necessary, right? Or you want an application because you don't want to just have, you don't want to just have anyone getting on some call with you and sucking your time, unless it's a call, right? Like I said, my 90-minute session, that's something where you're actually paying up front for, but you don't want to get on some, as a lot of you guys call, like discovery calls or whatever. You don't want to get on those and do a bunch of those unless you pre-qualify people. So you can also have the link in your bio be to a application. So you can use something like Typeform. Typeform you do have to pay for. That's what I use. Again, you can go see what Typeform looks like. If you go to my link in bio on Instagram and go for my 2-month private business coaching, please don't please don't apply for my business coaching just to see what my process is. We're really good at weeding out people who are doing that. If you want to know what my process is and what works, then you need to pay me. It's very obvious when people do that, and it's not cool. It's disingenuous. It's out of integrity. And let me tell you, karma will come back around and bite you in the ass, because then you're going to have a bunch of people doing that to you. Just have to say that. We've been getting quite a few of those lately, and a couple people have slipped through the cracks where they've ended up on actual calls with me because they knew exactly what to write in the application in order to probably pass through and get on a call with me. And it was very obvious in 5 minutes that they were on the call to see how my sales process, what questions I ask on the call, so that they could perhaps maybe mimic that. Well, if you really want to know how to do that, you hire me or you join my Selling with Soul program in October. You're not fooling anyone. I've been around a long fucking time. Just saying. So, not saying any of you guys listening are doing that, but I do want you to be warned that as you grow and become more well-known and respected, this is something that happens, and it's very annoying. So you can have the link in your bio be it to like Typeform, right? So now they're being sent to a Typeform where they apply, or you can use Google Forms, or it's called Google Survey, depending on which country you're in. And that's totally free. Typeform you do have to pay for, but Google Forms / Google Survey you don't. So they're just asking questions, giving their name and email, and then it ends up in your inbox, right? And then you can determine if you want to work with them or not. Then you send them an email to then set up a time and date to have a call, all without having a website or any tech. Anything I'm teaching you and telling you about right now, me as someone who is, I am tech somewhat knowledgeable just because I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years, heavily in the digital space. So I had to learn stuff the hard way, usually, because where I've gotten taken advantage of the most financially is with hiring people helping me with tech, because that was my weak spot. So it was very easy in the past to kind of play me, because it all seemed really hard. So then they'd charge me a lot more and make the whole thing sound harder than it is. And I would believe them because I didn't know how to do it. And I got absolutely taken advantage of many, many times. So I know enough to not get screwed now. I'll put it to you like that. This is why I only share things that I know you guys could actually create, because if I can do it, you can do it. And I really don't enjoy doing a lot of tech type things. I'm appreciative of the tech, but if I can do it, for sure, I feel very comfortable sharing it, and I'm sharing everything that's very cost conscious in mind. So to recap that, you can have people go to a link to apply to you. That's not a website, it's a link, and then they get an email, right? And then you can get on a call with them. You could have people go right to your calendar link and have that connected to PayPal. You don't have to use PayPal. You can use another payment processor, but I like PayPal. And you can have it connect to that. So now, they've paid for, their makeup session, their photography, their mindset coaching session, their therapy session. They've paid up front for their 60-minute session or whatever it is, and they've booked it. And now it shows up on your calendar and it's automated. And that's beautiful, right? We like automated, all without a website. So the most important thing when you are starting and building your business, before you've gotten to those 10K consistent months, where even on a bad month, you're going to be making 10K, you need to build up that brand credibility, that brand visibility, that brand story, that brand recognition. That's number one. So you have to get really clear on, again, who's your ideal client? What are you helping them with? What are you helping them alleviate in their life, solve in their life? Getting really damn clear on that niche. That's money. And you guys waste months. Some people waste years before they book a session with me or apply for my 2-month program, they've wasted so much time not feeling confident in their niche, feeling stuck in their niche, and then not going forward because of it. It's pure insanity. And if you've not figured it out and it's been mulling around in your head and swirling in there for anything more than a solid month, you need to take action and have someone help you. It'll be the best money you've ever spent. I'm just saying, like, don't sit in that confusion. That's you just tricking yourself, and you're really scared of going all in is all that is. And it's pure insanity. So use your social media platforms, whatever it is. You don't have to do all of them. That's not true. I would pick 2 main lead generators. Is it YouTube? Is it a podcast? Is it Instagram? What is it? Is it a blog? Pick 2 main lead generators and go all in with those. Make sure you have your brand, your brand colors, your brand vibe, your brand story, your messaging clear, and post videos, post content, and nothing basic. Post good stuff and engage with other people and talk to your ideal client and go find new potential ideal clients, and not with some agenda to sell them, just to get to know them better. You know how, well, right now restaurants aren't really doing it, but a lot of times, like new restaurants or new coffee shops or ice cream shop, they'll have someone out front giving away like free samples or something like that, to get you in the door, to show goodwill, to build some excitement. Or they'll even have like some person dressed as a giant ice cream or a lobster or something like that out front. That is essentially what you're doing, but digitally. That's what you're doing with your content. Hey, I'm here. I'm getting your attention. Come see what's going on over here. It's a vibe you're going to like. And then once you get their attention, you then appeal to their emotions with your content. So make sure you go listen to my other episodes where I'm specifically talking about content creation, because a lot of people I see blowing it off, you're posting like these dark photos that have nothing to do with your brand, sharing the kale salad you ate, but you're a mindset coach. No one gives a shit. Talking mostly about yourself and not being of service to them. Posting quotes from other people that we've seen a million times before. I mean, that does nothing for anybody. And you're kind of just trying to put stuff up there, but not really go all in and put in the work and really be of service. It's not going to translate. It's not going to work. You can't get away with that. It's just not going to happen. Even if Kim K, all right? Good old Kim K, Kim Kardashian. Even if she or Beyonce posted some basic ass quote from someone that we've seen a million times, even if she made it, someone on her team made it really pretty and posted it, yeah, it would get a lot of engagement, but it'd be one of their lowest engaging posts. Do you see what I mean? It's like, that's not going to work. That's being lazy, and you need to come and show up and serve. So that's what I really want you to focus on. I've given you some really solid options. I mean, you don't have to do a website. You can just have a landing page. I gave you examples of what you can use, funnels, or you can use, lead pages, and you can even Google like, what are the competitors to ClickFunnels or something like that. And there's going to be other companies that come up that I've not heard of that maybe you vibe with more. You can send people right to an electronic calendar and have that connect to a payment processor, Stripe. There's a whole bunch of different ones. PayPal. You're like, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, believe me, there are a shit ton of videos that tell you step by step how to do it. And if I could do it, I know you can do it. You can send people to an application. So don't tell yourself the lie anymore that I need a website, that I even need a logo. That was one of my lies. I need to have my logo professionally done to start. No, you don't. Make a damn logo on Canva. My first logo before because I was saying, I have to wait till I find the right graphic designer and then I can do it. That's another form of fear and toe dipping and a resistance. And thankfully, my coach goes, you go create a logo on Canva. Like, just go create something just to have it. No one cares. I mean, have you seen what most logos look like now? Most of them are very simple and clean. They're not some like elaborate artistic piece. So my first logo, which I'm sure if you scroll enough, even on my Instagram or Facebook, you'll see my first rendition of my logo. I did it myself in probably 45 minutes on Canva, like the free Canva, not even Canva Pro. I knew what my brand colors were, and that's it. Because the reality is, inside your social media platforms, your profile picture, things like that, it needs to be of you. People buy from humans. You don't need to have your logo there. But on your landing page, things like that, yeah, you want to have your logo, but it doesn't need to be like the holy grail of logos. Just go create something that's nice, that's clean, and that's in your brand colors on Canva. And there's other softwares you can use. For me, I know that I was able to do it on Canva. And if I can do it, you can. And it's the free version. We like free, especially when we're starting out. But I do want to say this as a caveat. Be careful when you're starting, when you're not quite near, that 10K mark yet. Free only gets you so far, okay? And I'm appreciative there's a lot of free things and low cost things out there, but it only gets you so far. If you really want to get to where you want to go more efficiently, meaning faster and easier and smarter, and save yourself a lot of time and headache and money from making a lot of mistakes like I did from being a stubborn cheap ass my first 5 years, I highly recommend don't just rely on low cost and cheap stuff. Have someone help you. Book one of those 90-minute sessions with me to start out. It's only $497 and it's tax deductible. Like I don't do those for me to sit here and rake in the money. I mean, you can do the math. I make more money doing a lot of other things. I do that to help you guys really get started and get going. And so that you guys can really have clarity and make it happen. Those dates are going to go really fast in September. So it can sound self-serving when I'm like, well, you need to at least, don't be cheap and at least invest something. And you can take it that way if you want. If you've listened to me long enough, you know that anything I share is me being like straight up blunt. I don't need to be self-serving. 70% of my income is passive, so I don't need to be. But I just don't want you to make the mistake I did, where I tried to do things the cheap way or the free way, where it in turn cost me so much more aggravation, time, and even money, because I wasn't just hiring the person to do the thing for $500, or I wasn't learning from a coach who's already where I want to be at, shave off all this time. That is one of my biggest mistakes. I really thought I had to figure it out myself, or that I was a failure. It was one of my own limiting beliefs. So I feel I needed to say that to those of you. And also, what you invest in your business, it's not you spending or creating more debt. It's an investment. It's also a tax write-off. I can only speak for sure for the United States. I can't speak for, all of you who live in all different countries all over the world. But I can tell you for the US, that's a legit tax deduction because you are investing in growing your business. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's an investment. It's not you buying, a new weave or your 80th Target tank top or, another TV or something like that. You're actually doing something to grow your business. All right, if you guys found this episode helpful and you want to participate in supporting my primary charity, Children of the Night, to raise awareness for sex trafficking and help pull women, teens, and children out of the hands of the perpetrators and put into a safe house where they can get the nurturing, the therapy, the medical attention, and the support they deserve and so badly need, go write a 5-star written iTunes review. And for the entire month of September, I'm giving $10 for every single written podcast review. And I have no cap on that. Feel free to go visit childrenofthenight.org if you want to go donate on your own or just check them out. They're also on Instagram as well. And I really, really appreciate you guys supporting this cause. It's near and dear to my heart. And of course, supporting the show in the meantime. Wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.